Good morning, everybody. Coming to you at just about 10 minutes past 11 in the morning. And, working in the news slash weather business, what a crazy morning. We had the fire that started in the 6 o'clock hour around 6:30 last evening, an industrial fire on one of the Weyerhaeuser properties up in Longview. And before the midnight hour, a lot of people were reporting smelling smoke in Clark County and certainly parts of Multnomah County. Basically, it was a light flow pattern aloft, but the flow pattern was from the north. So it was taking that fire smoke from the industrial fire up in Calais County and blowing it down across Clark and into Multnomah. Now, at 9 o'clock this morning, if you look on the air quality map from DEQ, this graphic courtesy of KGW TV, you can see still some red dots for unhealthy air in parts of Multnomah and up into Clark County. Generally, there have been on and off this morning moderate air quality reports as far south as Marion County, down around Salem. Remember, the smoke up in Calais County is moving away from Kelso Longview, dropping to the south. So the air quality up in the reporting sites in Longview and Kelso have been fine. It's been good. And the most consistent, moderate to at least unhealthy for sensitive folks, air quality indices so far this morning have been generally east of downtown Portland. And then on the right, notice the Portland Spirit landing camera in downtown Portland and see the darker clouds. That is smoke earlier this morning that was from the plume of the old Kmart building that's out in Northeast off of Sandy. You're not too far from Sandy. If you've been out that way, you know what I'm talking about, that old Kmart building. That caught on fire, at least for a couple of hours, I think. It was a heck of a smoke plume. Now, that's since been pretty well doused and wetted down, but we had that added smoke feature in the area this morning. So it's been a bit crazy. And on top of all of this, we have the weather headline that, oh, yes, 90-degree temperatures are back. I will tell you at 11 o'clock this morning, 10 minutes ago, it was 77. So we're on track to be 80 or so at noon. And that will put us on track to reach what is my forecast high for Portland of 94 this afternoon. Will become the 13th 90-degree day of the season so far. What you're looking at here is the GFS model and the projected highs. Now notice this is a weather model output. It shows 95 in Portland. I'm going 94. Obviously, we could hit 95. It's going 94 down in Eugene. And to be honest, I'm not sure what that 86 number is. Salem is expected to hit 90, and in Eugene, 94. Actually, Salem would be around 94 as well. So 91 up in Kelso Longview area, but really from Vancouver down through Albany, most of us are going to be in that 93, 94, maybe 95 degree department. And then if you look out over the Columbia Basin, see the 100-degree number, that's out toward Pendleton. It also looks like the Dalles, other forecast outputs are showing the Dalles in Wasco County, East Gorge, could get up to 101. And then really most areas, if not every single one, east of the Cascades expected to be in the 90s. So most inland areas away from the beach looking at a hot day. We've had a mix of fog and low clouds at the coast and sun. This morning, most of the cameras we look at are showing increasing sun at the beach. The temperatures there will be in the 60s and 70s. But certainly the hot weather's back. And I still feel that today could be day one of at least reaching 90 again tomorrow and maybe a third day in a row on Friday if we just get up to 90. Going into today, a reminder, if you go all the way back to May, we've had a total of 12 90-plus degree days so far this summer season. I mentioned today will become the 13th day. And the heat is still feeding off of the occasional migration or movement of the heat dome that continues to make national, in fact, worldwide news. The heat dome basically has been down over Texas and parts of the Southwest since, I think, the early part of June. I think that's a correct statement. And this is the setup for this afternoon. See the bigger H, that's kind of the center focal point of the high, which has shifted from yesterday, it was over the panhandle of Texas. Now it's back more over the Four Corners area of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, up into Colorado. And just that little nudge in westward movement sends the air mass slightly northward up into our region, and we feed off of it just enough to get up into the 90s. This is what's been happening on and off for us. Now, over the weekend, that same high is going to push it back a bit more to the east, and we'll drop out of the 90s and get back into the 80s. But I want to focus on this high-pressure ridge. So, again, this is the European model this afternoon. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to double up. And these are all European models at 500 millibar, 18,000 feet. And what we're doing here is tracking that high pressure dome. So I'm going to jump to Wednesday of next week. So a week out. Notice that high is still there. It's actually coming northward up more into the Colorado Rockies. Multiple forecast models at that time, however, bring a little trough where you see the low up into BC and Canada, bring a little trough of low pressure into our area. So if that's true, somewhere on Monday night into Tuesday, maybe Tuesday night, the timing could change. We're going to see a decent push of some marine air. That will actually drop our temperatures down. Right now, I have Tuesday, for example, of next week at only 77 degrees. And then if you jump to August 2nd, I'm going to just move forward in increments of 7 days or a week. If you go to August 2nd, the heat dome is still there and it doesn't move a lot. It's basically located over Salt Lake City, Utah. But notice the modeling here takes ridging and extends it up over our area and up through Vancouver Island out into the Pacific. So if that's true, we would have another run of some 90-degree heat the first several days of August. And perhaps this time, the surface features would set up where we'd get enough of an east wind that it would shut off the Pacific and the coast would get some 80-degree temperatures as well. So let's keep moving forward. I find this interesting because this is the story of this entire summer season, this high pressure, intense dome, heat dome that is not budged. Here it is on August 7th. Now it's migrated clearly back to the east of us, back over the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, perhaps into parts of Kansas. If this model is correct, it digs a low into California, and we would be in that somewhat cooler trough of low pressure as well. And with that around that low, if you follow the contours and just kind of take your fingers and draw around it counterclockwise, that brings up a south flow across Northern California into Oregon for us. That's the flow pattern that can bring some convection and possible thunderstorms. Now, a reminder from about the 4th of July through at least mid-August, our best chance to get any measurable precipitation is from convection and scattered storms. So maybe we get some water there. And then if you go another week forward to August 14th, notice we have another low that's dropped in that would give us maybe the chance to see some highs holding in the 70s, shy of 80, maybe the chance of some precipitation. The bigger story in this map to me, notice the high. Now it's scooted all the way across Missouri and getting into the Ohio and Tennessee river valleys. That would be the farthest east migration of that low, or excuse me, of that high pressure dome since it first set up in early June. So it's going to be fascinating to see if this comes true. What started over Texas and extended back through New Mexico and into Arizona in June, would the mid part of August finally shift that high off to the east and bring some relief to our neighbors down to the south of us in Arizona and Utah and Texas and parts of New Mexico? We'll see. One last map. This is August 21st. Now, this one kind of redevelops a new ridge of high pressure back over Texas, but it's not in New Mexico. This would not be as strong and actually not the exact heat dome that I've been talking about. It would be a new development. But again, there's another low setting off California. So if these maps are accurate, we would have several, or at least a handful of possible scattered showers / thunderstorm days in August, and reason to believe that there'd be some decent, fairly cool weather mixed in. Okay, I'm going to show you the 7-day forecast here locally in a second, but I do want to touch on high temperatures today. I want to touch on the records that Phoenix, Arizona have been setting because it's been the national headline, right, weather-wise. So projected highs today, again, this actual graphic courtesy of KGW-TV. Phoenix, 116. I just circled some cities. Vegas, 111. Boise, 100. Medford, 98. And then go back to Texas, you got Dallas at 104. So here's what's interesting. Going into today, Phoenix has now had 19 consecutive days where the high temperature has been at least 110 and hotter. That's the longest stretch Phoenix has ever had. In fact, it's the longest stretch of consecutive days of at least 110 any of our major top 25 cities in our country have ever had. So that's historic, right? And today's going to become the 20th day. We already saw the projection being well above 110. Also, 9 nights going into this morning, 9 nights of the temperature staying above 90. Now, keep in mind, when Portland hit 116 degrees back in that historic heat wave of June of 2021, we still cooled into the 70s at nights. We still had some comfortable weather in the morning and some comfortable weather overnight. The poor folks down in Arizona, it's still been in the 90s at night. Yesterday, by the way, on Tuesday, they had 118 degrees. That was a new record for the date for July 18th. It also tied a previous day for the hottest they have been during this particular heat wave at 118. And if you're wondering, their climate normal is no picnic. It's 107. That's their normal high. And their normal low is 85. So anyway, that continues to be a big national story. Here's the 7-day for the Rose City. It's all sunny and dry through the weekend. We have the hazy sun out there today due to the fire that we talked about, the smoke. We get up to 94. The record today, by the way, is 102. Tomorrow, I still think we at least hit 90, maybe 92. And then Friday, either we make it to 90 or we just miss. But if we go 3 days in a row, those would become days 13, 14, and 15 of 90-degree temperature. Certainly, we're going to do it today, and I think tomorrow too. Saturday, Sunday, still warm, but 88, 86. And then Monday, we start to cool off. Remember that low I showed you? We started tracking the upper flow pattern. Monday, 82. Current timing to me suggests we get a big push of marine air Monday night into Tuesday. That would be clouds to sun and perhaps a trace of rain, especially in the morning hours, maybe even early afternoon, and a high Tuesday of 78. There is the possibility that timing maybe gets pushed back into Wednesday, but at any rate, there's still a more pleasant day or two out there to be had as we get into next week. Okay, I always thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I like to thank you for using me as one of your weather sources. Reminder, some of the graphics you see come from my weather site, portlandweather.com, that I own and operate. And with that, I will remind you to stay cool. And if the air quality tends to bother you, keep your eyes on the DEQ sites from both Washington and Oregon. I'll talk to you soon.